नमस्कार उस्ताद जी।
नमस्कार। आप मुझे जाकिर बुलाइए।
जी जी। एंड
बहुत
as we say in Maori in New Zealand, क्या हो रहा?
क्या हो रहा है, एज इन क्या हो रहा है।
Yeah, very similar to the क्या हो रहा है, but it's called क्या हो रहा in Maori.
क्या
Thank you
हो
so
रहा है।
much, Ustad Zakir Hussain, for joining the Indian news viewers for a chat, and it's so lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too, sir. I'm glad and thankful that you were able to find time to be able to talk to me.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, Ustadji, we are keen to know about your musical journey for the benefit of our viewers. If you can tell us a little, though you are a legend and you have been in the industry, music industry for maybe 5 long decades, but for our viewers, if you can tell us a little story about your journey.
Well, I mean, as far as my professional journey is concerned as a tabla player and a performer, that began when I was 12 years old. And I started performing at that age and traveling the length and breadth of India and playing concerts where musicians would come home and get me and assure my mother that they would look after me on the journey and bring me along to go play with them. And so that was the way it began, and that was about 71 no, sorry, 61 years ago. Now I'm
Wonderful. So it's
70.
not 5 decades, it's over 6 decades long
Yeah,
journey.
yeah, I'm 61 years. Meaning I'm 73 years old right now.
Don't tell
So
me.
yes.
I trust you though.
So anyway, um, as it is in Indian homes, which are musicians' homes, the child is born and is already, initiated into sound and melodies and rhythms,
Yeah.
and it was no different for me. I had to. I mean, I guess I didn't have a choice in it because what I was 3 days old and my father took me in his arms and sang rhythms in my ear.
Great.
And so the journey began at that time, and it carried on for months on at a stretch where every day I would hear rhythms in my ear as a child who was 2 days old, 3 days old, 4 days old, and so on and so forth. So it kind of is akin to uh, when Arjuna was telling his wife the story and Abhimanyu was listening to it in the stomach. Mine was a little different. I was already out,
Yes.
and the stories were going in my ear while I was a little baby. And so by the time I was 3 or 4 years old, I already had a whole jumble of information in my head. And then he left me to my own devices and to the mercy of his students who kind of guided me and helped me along. And but all that information was already here, so transposing all that to my instrument was not as difficult. And so half the job was already done. And so I was doing that. And by the time I was 7, I started to play in school programs and things. And when my father saw that kind of passion and interest in the art form, he asked me whether I wanted to do this seriously. And of course, I said yes. And so then my serious training began. And that meant getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he and I would walk to the shrine of a saint just about 100 meters from our home. And we would sit in front of the shrine on a bench and talk music. He would sing rhythms to me, I would sing them back, and tell me stories about great masters and repertoire, great compositions, where they came from, and so on and so forth. So that went on for I would say another 2 or 3 years, and then what would happen is I would be with him till about almost 6 in the morning. And then my mother will come and grab me, get me ready for school, and send me off to the madrasa where I would read the Quran for an hour, close the book, cross the street, and assemble in the St. Michael High School Church, where we would sing hymns and then be marched off to our classrooms to start my school studies. So within the span of about 4 or 5 hours, from talking about Lord Ganesha and his pakawaj and the rhythms, and Lord Shiva's damru, and Saraswati's veena, and
Yeah.
Krishna's bansuri, I would end up at the Quran and then at the church. And so these 3 or 4 different ways of life kind of seamlessly meshed into each other every day in my life, but I never felt that they were different from each other. And none of the people who enforced this information ever forced on me the idea that they were the ones whose thought process was the correct one.
What a multicultural influence in your upbringing.
Yes,
Amazing,
amazing,
amazing journey.
absolutely.
Now,
And so
Ustad, having performed internationally and interacted with the global artists,
uh-huh.
how do you see the synergies between various global music traditions?
It is, well, the world has gotten smaller and smaller,
Yeah,
and I think the citizenry all over the world at large has realized that the way to understand their fellow human beings on the other side of the pond or whatever is not just to read about them, but through their culture, to experience their culture, to experience their way of life,
yeah,
and with the kind of respect and reverence that it deserves. And so I think what happened in the 1960s with the advent, when Ravi Shankarji embarked on a global journey to bring Indian music to
the world
all
forum.
parts of the globe.
Yeah,
This idea of culture being the recognizing force of humanity has taken hold, and so there's some kind of a global renaissance now in the world of arts that allows us to be able to, without any hesitancy, without any feeling of boundaries or fences or language issues or religion issues or bars, be able to communicate as musicians and artists. And so people find that to be a very exciting thing. I mean, in the 1960s and 70s, India was considered a third world country,
yeah.
but yet through the personalities like Ravi Shankar, Alaraka,
And
and
yourself, of course.
no, me, I came much later,
Yeah,
but they brought such incredible recognition to our art form and our culture, whether it was yoga or meditation
yeah,
or music, and that people realized that India was a very special place when it came to art and culture in those days, and so the kind of respect that developed for India was unparalleled in those days, and then. Of course, in recent times, it's the economics and the business and whatnot and so far. But in those days, it was always the culture, and now that has, in some ways, come full circle and sparked another resurgence in the idea of understanding and interacting with human beings all over the world. Not necessarily trying to figure out what they are speaking in terms of words, but what they are singing, what they are playing, what their rhythms are, what their dances are, how they meditate, how they do yoga, how they stay healthy, and so on and so forth. And so this revelation for people has brought humanity on the planet much, much closer. And therefore, it has also made it possible for us, the keepers of the art, Indian art form, and whether that's African art form or Japanese art form or so on and so forth, an avenue to be able to
Bring people closer
bring people closer, and of
through
course
the medium
share
of music. Yeah.
share what we carry with us.
Wonderful. Now, Ustadji, Triveni is such a meaningful term. Can you please tell us more about ideation of the Triveni concert?
Well, the Trinity is something that has existed all over the planet, whether it's Christianity with Father, Holy Ghost, and and so on, and of course Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or Ganga, Jamna, Saraswati,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. When we three got together, it occurred to me that we were from different parts of our country, and we were meeting, or the sangam that was taking place was akin to the three rivers flowing from different parts of the country and emptying into the Sangam area near Allahabad and becoming one. But not only that, as the rivers traveled all through their various paths, they brought with them flavors and cultures and tastes of all those areas that they transversed through. And so the Sangha was not just of the waters meeting, but of the people of the lands that the rivers flew through and met. And so that is what our music was also all about and represented. Well, when Kalaji represented North Indian music, but with a Western instrument, and Jayanti Kumresh presented South Indian music with an ancient veena, and me playing tabla, which was one of the youngest classical Indian instruments in the music fraternity, and at the same time bringing sort of an awareness as far as the rhythms are concerned from not just North India but South India and other parts of the world, and putting all those together. It meant that there was an interaction between us of not just three human beings, but pretty much what the planet stood for as far as the language of music is concerned. And so I felt that it would be good to call it Triveni, which on its surface explained the trio idea, but at the same time, in some in-depth thought, gave you a view of what the music is. And when we play together, we kind of try to bring to the audiences a bird's eye view of different parts of the planet that we all come from, and different areas of India that we represent when it comes to the core of our music.
So thoughtful. It's so thoughtful. Now, Ustadji, your recent musical score and the cameo role in The Monkey Man has many admirers in New Zealand. So could you please share your experience in making of The Monkey Man, the music and the movie?
Well, the thing is, Monkey Man was made my section was shot very close to Australia, in Indonesia, actually, in an island called Batam. And what was interesting for me is that the idea was that rhythm in some ways represents the way we learn to center ourselves, we discipline ourselves, and everything that we do is guided by rhythm, by pulse, by tempo. And the whole world moves around in rhythm, in tempo. and so that was it. But at the same time, when you focus on a time signature, it allows you to be able to uh, in many ways control and tune your body rhythm.
Yeah.
It's the same for me. I fly all over the world. I just came from Hong Kong and all that stuff. But people ask me, how come you don't get jet lag? And what I say is this: no matter where I am, where I'm driving to catch a flight, or if the flight is delayed and I may miss my connection somewhere, and so on and so forth, all that may be happening, but my body rhythm, my mind tempo does not change. It remains that same. And so when that happens, I'm not tense or nervous or hyper or anything like that. And because of that, I'm able to, negate around and bypass the effects of jet lag and so on and so forth. So the rhythm is a very important aspect of our lives. And what Dev Patel, the director, wanted was to suggest that the rhythm is something that when you harness, that it can allow you to transcend any kind of inabilities that you might have, physically speaking.
Yeah.
And so that was the point. But when we got together to shoot, the movie shooting had not even begun.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what the actual movie was going to be like. Dev Patel was a friend of my son-in-law and my daughter, because they are in movie business. And so through them we met and we got together. And so when he asked me, and it was during the pandemic time, and I was doing nothing really, I was home. So I said, okay. And he arranged for me to fly to Indonesia and be quarantined in a cottage and so on and so forth. So that's how it began. And when I shot the movie, those scenes for 3 days or 4 days, I think, no clue, no script, nothing. It was just us shooting, me discussing rhythms with him and him learning it, and then being able to find physical movement to the rhythms that I was providing. And so, and then in the end, when we edited it, it took a little time to put all that together in a more cohesive frame. And so there it is. I mean, so I have actually, honestly speaking, not yet seen the movie,
Okay.
because I was on tour and it released, and then these days movies run for like a week or 10 days and they're gone.
That's right.
Netflix or whatever. But I'm also not the kind of person who enjoys violence. I mean, I like the old Hollywood or Indian musicals, and I enjoy doing that. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't yet seen the film, and I probably may not. But that aside, but it was an interesting experience. I've done movies before, and I've done SARS, a film in which I starred opposite Savannah Azmi. And I did a film called Heat and Dust, in which I was the love interest of an actress called Julie Christie. And so I've done that, and so it wasn't in that way a strange or a new experience, but it was interesting to be on screen as a character, but still being me in terms of connected to my tabla.
Wonderful. Now, I won't hold you for very long, Saji. One last thing, as I'm sure you are aware, like your New Zealand leg of um, Triveni is being
Uh-huh.
organized by the Performing Arts
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Society for Performing Arts, Bhumija
Mm.
India, and with the
Uh-huh.
support from the High Commission of India as well,
Yes.
and
I'm
along with
very
some
grateful to the High Commission
yeah,
for,
and along with some support from the media partners like the Indian News. What's your
yeah, Indian News,
message?
absolutely.
Thank you so much. What's your
Thank you.
message for your um, audience, which is going to be part of this 27th and 29th June concerts in Auckland and
Well,
Christchurch.
first of all, I'm very grateful that we get a chance to come to New Zealand and share our music, and to the audience, if and when they do show up for supporting us, and I have to say that come with an open mind. Uh, I have the musicians I'm playing with, which is Kala Ramnath ji and Jayanti Kumresh ji. They are two of the top-notch practitioners of their art form, unparalleled in their mastery. And what we are going to do is try to, take you on a flight with a bird's eye view of what India is all about and what our interaction does in terms of being able to show the unity that our art and culture represents. And so that's what we're going to do. Come with an open mind and a blank page, and we will write our story together.
Wonderful. It is so wonderful and so amazing to talk to you, Ustadji. We look forward to seeing you in Auckland very soon. And
I
on
hope
behalf
so.
of my team here in Auckland and the viewers of the Indian News, I thank
Mhm.
you once again for your time. Thank you
Thank
for
you very
talking to
much. The
us.
first thing I'm going to do when I'm going to land is order a flat white.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome to the
you.
Coffee Nation.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Bhaiya ji.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.